Anna Hellman. Thanks so much for being here. We are celebrating the kickoff of the new Stampin' Up holiday catalog, and we are doing it in style with a penguin penny slider card. Let me show it to you. So let's take a look at this adorable card. So penny spinner card, if you've never seen one before, works like this. You can attach some kind of element, like on this one, I have done a penguin to it, and as you tilt the card back and forth, it is going to spin. So this is just so cute. I just love this penguin bundle that I used to make this, and I thought this was the perfect way to highlight how adorable it is. So here is the Penguin Place bundle. It comes with this punch. I love a good Stampin' Punch bundle. So it has the two different penguins. We have the one who's sitting upright, and then the one who is gliding on its tummy, the one that I have spinning on this card, and then a bunch of really cute greetings and all the cute little pieces and parts. So let me tell you what we need to make this card. And the one we are making right now is going to look slightly different. Same idea, you'll still know how to make this one, but it's going to give you a second option for another way to make this, but switch it up just a little bit. So what you need a card base. This one I use Poppy Parade. Here I have Pacific Point. That measures 5.5 by 8.5, folded in half. You need a piece of white that measures 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I've already attached that here. And then you'll need another piece of white that measures 4 by 5 1/4. This one, I am trying our white velvet paper that you may not be able to appreciate in the video, but this one I use standard white. This one I'm using the white velvet. Then we need some penguins and your pieces and parts that you want to attach to the front. For this one, I am going to use one of the upright penguins and one of the diving penguins. Now, this one you can punch out with your punch. This one I did fussy cut. I just trimmed that out with my scissors, and the antlers and these little pieces, I did trim those out with my scissors, which didn't take long. It's a little bit relaxing and therapeutic, I think. So we need these, and a couple of tips when you are stamping your penguins. I used my StazOn ink to really get the dark black color. I have a little bit better luck with that than the Memento. And if you still have some little white spots that didn't stamp quite right, all you need to do is grab a black or gray marker and fill those in. So that's what I did to get the really dark black look. So let's get started. First, what I need to do is show you how to die cut this groove. And I did that with one of our Basic Borders dies. This is the curvy one. So I am going to need to bring in my die cutting machine here. Show you how to do this part. Okay, first, and I'll try to show you straight on so that you can see this a little bit better. I want to line this up to get that same pattern from higher up here on the left side to lower down here on the right side. So that is going to look something like this. And you need to place that die so that it is about 1/4 of an inch or maybe even a little bit more than that away from the edge, because we do not want to cut all the way to the edge. Okay, and I'm going to bump this up a little bit because you don't want the penny or any of this to get too close to the bottom. It will run into your foam that you have back in there holding everything together. So you do want to keep it up from the bottom a little bit. So I'm going to run this through right here. Now, we are not going to run it all the way through. We have to stop before we get to the end. Show you how I do that. Hopefully you can see this. I am going to crank until I get the paper goes right under this part of the machine here. Now, if you have a different machine, you are going to have to judge this and figure it out on your own. But with the cut and emboss machine, you can crank it until the white just goes under this white part of the machine right here, and then give it like one little tiny more crank. Now, it is better to not go far enough than to go too far. If you go too far, you will have cut through the edge of your paper, And even if you do that, it is okay. I did that once. And if you do cut through the edge, what you can do is just use a little bit of Scotch tape on the back to hold everything together. Okay, so you can see here, I got that cut. It didn't go quite to the edge, but I can finish that out with some scissors. Now we need to place this back on and cut a second time and shift it upwards just a little bit. Now I want to try to show you this so you can see well. I left about 1/8 of an inch, maybe a touch more, between the cut line and the edge of my die. Lay that on carefully. You can use some tape if you want to hold it in place, or a Post-it note. And that got a little bit farther away than what I want. Okay, now we're going to do the exact same thing. Crank it through until that paper gets right there to the edge of the machine. Then one more little crank. Now the fun surprise on this card that we're making right now is we are going to create a second groove. So we're going to create a second hill that another penguin is sliding and flipping down. And I want to make this hill look like it is coming from over here and going down this direction. So I'm going to place the die on like this. We will run this through the same way. You don't want to get the die too close down there to the other one, to the other cut, because the penguins will tumble into each other, and they may still do that a little bit anyway, but if you keep it away, it helps with them not running into each other quite as much. And then I'm going to shift this up same way, about 1/8 of an inch. Get to the edge there, little crank, and then stop and back it out. Super. Hopefully this one is wide enough. Now, if you don't get them wide enough, if your penguin will not turn, then you may have to try it again, cut it a little bit wider. So now let's use our snips and trim these. Now what I found is I had been trimming the edges horizontal to the edge of the card, okay, this way. But what I found is then that foam piece back in there gets stuck up in that sharp crack. So I would recommend cutting it so that it's more square with the groove. Like that, so you don't have any sharp points in there. And this one, I am going to say now, I wonder if that is wide enough to work, but we will find out. If it is not, you will learn from my mistake to make sure you get it far enough apart, okay? So here is our piece that we are now going to attach our penny sliders to. So you will need some pennies for this. If you are just doing one slider, you'll need 2 pennies. If you are doing 2 sliders, you'll need 4 pennies. And some dimensionals. So I am using mini dimensionals, and I am using the black ones, but you can use the white ones. Doesn't matter. And you want to grab 2 of them and stack them on top of each other. Now, I have been trying to stack them so that the points line up and the straight edges line up. I'm not really sure if that matters or not, but it's what I've been doing. Then you are going to place, this one I've already had prepared, place that under the groove and stick your second penny on top. Same thing with this one. And what's important is that that fits in that groove. And if it doesn't, I'm a little bit worried that isn't going to cut. So I'm going to go back and cut that a little bit wider. Be right back. Okay, I did that, and I will show you real quick. If you find that you have to pop those pennies in and out after you have assembled this, you can do it just like that. So that's pretty easy. Now slide this one back behind, put the other penny on top, and now we can attach our penguins. So you want to use some really strong adhesive. I'll be using Seal Plus, but you could use tear and tape, you could use multi-purpose glue, and you can either place it on the penny or in the center of your penguins. And for this one, I think I'll put this penguin up top and this penguin down below. With this felt paper, you may find that you have little lint pieces, especially from your die cutting plates. A lint roller works perfectly to get those off. So, okay, let's try this out. Now, we're not all put together yet, but let's see if we are spinning some. And we're spinning and sliding. So let's get it all put together, and then we can see how it looks all together. One quick tip, I have heard that with an embossing buddy, you can rub this across there and get it to slide a little bit better. So if yours isn't working, you can try that and see if it works. I have not verified that that works, but and if you don't have an embossing buddy, I'm going to link you here to a video where I show how you can make your own. Now, these foam strips come in really, really handy. You don't have to have them. You can do this with regular foam dimensionals, but I highly recommend them because they make it a lot easier. So you are going to need one of these along each edge of your card. We also need to run one down here between this. Now you have to keep these far enough away so that they don't get in the way of the penny. So keep that in mind. And then I do want a few smaller pieces throughout here just to hold everything together. And keep it popped up. You don't want this to sag in the back and sag towards the card base because that can keep the pennies from doing what they need to do. Okay, so this should work really well. I'll bring in my card base. We need to remove this paper backing and attach it. I love how easy the paper backing is to pull off of these foam strips. Okay, so now we just need to try to center it and line it up before we let it down and attach everything. Now let's try it. Let's see how she does. And you can see, so mine do bump into each other a little bit. So if you want to try this, you can keep them out of the way of each other. But I still think that is really fun. And one thing I noticed with the ones that I made prior to this is after you play with them more, it seems like they start spinning a little bit better. So you can play around with it, try that embossing buddy if you want to, but I just think that's so cute with the little sliders and spinners. Now I created a little tag. This is the same one I used here. I really liked it. It says, be cool, be chill, be merry. We'll attach this. I'm going to decorate this one a little bit differently. Obviously, since we have the two spinner tracks, we don't have as much space. And just for fun, I wanted to put a little bow, I think onto this one. Yeah. Onto this penguin right here. So I hope you have enjoyed this project. I would love for you to try this. Let me know how it goes. You can find links to the products once they're available in the video description below. Also links to my blog where you can get lots of ideas and inspiration. So thanks for being here. I hope you'll be back again next time when I'll be here helping you to hand make with love.